humans do to these animals, and now I hate humans. I fucking hate all of them. But go vegan. So we're like fucking ourselves because we get so wrapped up and so overwhelmed, which I feel like is just human nature. And I talk about that in the video. It's human nature. I'm not making fun of just vegans. We, as humans, I think we can just find out something's fucked up and we're like, oh, I gotta change it. And then we go from like 0 to 100, and that can be dangerous. And that's also what causes burnout. And when someone gets burned out on being an activist, then we're fucked. Then they go fucking back to putting the blinders on, and then the country's fucked. So I really want to dispel a myth that you have to like have your shit under control to be able to like do good. I feel like capitalism has really co-opted nonprofits and really co-opted charities in our country in a really ugly way, because it makes it like, so you can't just be yourself. You can't just be like weird, fucked up, high drunk you who wants to get in front of a microphone with a fucking picture of a campfire. Like that's not good enough, because then what if someone, where's your soup coat and where's your like all of this? It's really ugly, and it's especially I think hard for women to be able to say like, fuck it, I don't need to be so serious. If my whole fucking job is to get people excited about something, to get people on board with what I'm excited about, why am I going to put a fucking shield in between me and them? Why am I going to put a facade when I could just cut out all that fucking extra effort and be me and answer any fucking question you want to know, and I'll tell you the truth, you know? So I think we're so afraid of our own stories sometimes, and that we can just like get up our own asses and be like, no one wants to hear my story. Let me just share some shit that some old white dude said on the internet. When really we should just be saying what is our own story and why what we're doing is cool. And that we don't have to go all the way all at once. We could just say that, wow, this is fucked up what's happening. Let me learn a little bit more every day about how to help. Do it in a way that makes sense. My designer, Chandani, was going to come tonight. I'm really sad she couldn't, but she is a huge fucking inspiration for me. You can read about her on the website, along with several other of my most fucking heroes in the world. But she, in her thing, she was just like, yeah, she's what I would call an ally. She isn't like an activist about like going vegan, and she isn't 100% vegan, but she's fucking about the cause, and she's into it. She's a feminist, femc. She's an MC who calls herself a femc, and she's already like just progressive about everything. So I was like, fuck yeah, I want to work with you. You don't have to be vegan. And then in her thing, she didn't even write that much, but it was so powerful. She was like, you know what? I know myself, and I know that if I tell myself I'm going to put this label on me that's vegan, that's going to suck, and I'm going to like fight it with all my might. So like, what I'm going to do is that if I tell myself I can't have something, it makes me want it more. So I'm going to say, I can still have whatever I want. I just taking it a little bit at a time and doing what I can, and that's the fucking trick, and that needs to be celebrated. If we ignore that in people, we're fucking, we might as well just not even be out there activisting at all, as far as I'm concerned. I love you guys. Thanks for doing this with me. Next one's going to have a lot more polish. It's going to be shiny and polished, but not too polished. It's going to still be probably weird. If anyone has any more questions, I kind of did it the last minute. Question?
From Yuki. If you see per person eating in vegan, vegetarian restaurants, how should you feel? How do you feel?
Okay. This one, this is tough. Good question, Yuki. Fuck. Okay, so I respect other people's views who feel very strongly about it. I'm still like very hung up on the fact that like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of time is wasted, a lot of energy wasted on getting mad at people who are in fur. If you look at the numbers, chickens have it by far the worst. And this is what all the like data-driven old white dudes are talking about, which is the data. And there's actually one old white dude organization that exists. It's called It's called like Just One Step, and it's all about reducing your chicken intake, which is actually super important. And I'll brag about my husband Aaron for a second. That was when he found out that like chickens suffer the most, and that the numbers are just astounding how much more they suffer than other animals. He was like, oh fuck, that's easy. Chicken's doesn't taste like anything. I can eat steaks and burgers for a little bit and just do my own thing and go at my own pace, but like, I'm totally cool now that I know that. I think I don't even want to participate in that anymore. But that's just one story. That's just an anecdotal story. That doesn't have to be anyone's. We're all on our own fighting journeys. The first thing. So I understand when people are hurting, and I don't want them to hurt about that, but I want them to just be able to let it go a little bit. Leather's everywhere. Leather's fucking terrible too. And there's better ways we can just get drunk and hide together and like celebrate life together as vegans and non-vegans, like that are just gonna make us feel better. I think there's with this internet cacophony that I sort of talked about, it pisses me off a lot. It's like the same 5 articles are passed around in this like tunnel. It's like turned into like a fucking tornado of anger. And it's like, I'm gonna share this with everybody, and there's gonna become vegan, and then you end up like those people will unfollow you anyway, and they don't even. It's just you're sharing it, and you're just getting yourself worked up for nothing. So the internet, I feel like that fight and the internet sort of go hand in hand, and it can. Again, I don't want to make light of anyone's if they're feeling pain over that happens. I know it's fucking terrible, but like I'm gonna like throw out. I'm wearing kind of a mom dress. My mom, sort of inner mom in me, is like, we need to enjoy our lives, and that isn't worth a moment of our joy being taken away. To get mad about that, we can allow it to affect us a little bit, but we have to like hug it when it gets inside of us, so it doesn't turn into like this nugget of anger and fester in us. We have to say, you know what, they're on a different path, and it's all a numbers game anyway, and it sort of goes back to the fact that another really frustrating thing when you are a new vegan is that you are so excited about it, you want everybody immediately to go vegan, and that's something that Taisha said in her piece on the website, which is fucking awesome. It's so true. If we could just, I think, like give like a word of wisdom to someone who's on this path and like, I want to go vegan, but like my family is so different. It's gonna be really hard. It isn't easy. It does take a couple awkward conversations here and there. You'll get used to it. I'm a little. Me and awkwardness are like we have a really tight relationship. It's like I'm thinking about like the path I'm on now and how it's more and more turning into just like Nicole having awkward conversations for a living. It's kind of what I have in life. I'm cool with it. It's fine. I think I know I'm still on answering the first thing, but it's kind of related. Is that like there's going to be people's behavior that seems so at odds with our own, but the more we think about that, the worse off it's going to be for us. To really take care of ourselves and to really be able to like suck the most out of life that we can and be the happiest that we can and it fucking probably be the best activist. I don't know, this is all just a guess, but I think we'll be the best activist if we can sort of just say, that's a person, I'm a person too, we're just gonna fucking do our best. And if it's your family, that can be hard because you feel like they should know you the best and you've told them about all these books and all these cool movies, and if they haven't watched it yet, you can just let that eat at you and sort of take it personal. And we have to just be able to say, you know what, that's a tiny amount of people in the world. This is our family, and a lot of them are like the generation above ours anyway, which we may not have even made any inroads with them anyway. What we should embrace is people who are like us, who are like progressive about other shit. Another shitty thing that happens in the vegan world that I wish didn't, but it's like totally understandable because it's again nobody's fault. It's just like human nature. But like we get sort of angry at vegetarians. It's like, but don't you know that there's fucking we get really fired up when if we just like took a second, just like they're a person just like us. I was just like them too. Then we're going to be like, fuck, that's fucking awesome that you're doing that. That's fucking awesome that you're doing that. I was vegetarian too. I was where you are. What can I do to help? If you have any questions? We may not always be like at that place where we have enough like bandwidth within us to be like, let me answer your question. When we do, we should definitely go for it. But when we don't, send them to me. Send them to fucking my friend Nicole runs this fucking website, they'll answer all your questions. I'm tired, have a great day. We don't have to be expected to have all the answers because we're vegan. We don't have to be expected to like have an hour to devote to somebody to send them a big long email with a whole bunch of links in it. Like we may want to do that sometimes, and it's awesome, and sometimes I want to do it, but I've done it and like regretted it. I'm like, they probably didn't even read that. I just spent an hour on it. So I don't want anyone to feel that way, feel that regret. Just send it to me, and I'm doing it for a living. I'm good. I'm taking plenty of baths. I'm taking good care of myself. I'm smoking a lot of pot. Like I can answer all those questions, and it's not gonna make me angry. I'm as much as I can, just waking up every day and figuring out how I can smear love all over the world's nether regions. All right. Okay. I think I'm going to use that thing that I was going to tell you guys that I'm closing